All right, we're going to do a fun genre today. We're going to figure out who the big four is of butt rock. That's right, butt rock. We need to identify what butt rock is beforehand, though. This is not a very official genre, and seems to be a genre that of all the ones I've talked about is the most backward looking. So we're looking back at a trend and kind of sort of making fun of it. It's a double entendre, though. Butt rock because it sounds dumb and blunt and silly. Uh, but it also fits the radio genre of the station that plays nothing but rock. Nothing but rock. So this is a band that is on one of those radio stations that's kind of frozen in time from like a early to mid 2000s era, basically a 2000s era mainstream rock station where a lot of these artists are going to have been popular on those stations when they first came out, and they're still going to be popular today on those stations as they kind of play that same format as radio formats change and evolve. So, butt rock. Keep in mind, not the most official genre, but has a couple things that unify us on the Nothing But Rock stations, which means that they're probably not going to be playing so much on modern alternative stations, which kind of sends some of those bands out of the discussion. And it tends to help if they have kind of a post-grunge sound. What is post-grunge? It's a long story. Essentially kind of vanilla 2000s era rock. When I explain some of the bands, perhaps you will get the gist. The most successful butt rock band that anyone could ever hope to possibly be is Nickelback. Nickelback. We might be messing with this term a little bit because Nickelback has had a whole bunch of pop success and occasionally uses elements of pop and country in their songs. Photograph does not exactly sound like a rock song half the time. Rockstar, I don't know what Rockstar is, but it's certainly not a Nirvana song, right? Nickelback is the ultimate butt rock artist. I don't think I really have to explain a whole lot about that. So, if Nickelback is representing a lot of these post-grunge bands that came about in the early 2000s and just continued on through the decades with relative popularity in its own genre, it might be representing things like Seether or Three Doors Down, stuff like that. Creed, I think, would have to represent the bands that were of their time and perhaps only of their time. Creed was huge. Creed was enormous. Creed is kind of hilarious and sometimes even worth ironically enjoying. I'm not sure if a lot of Nickelback's catalog is worth ironically enjoying, but Creed is kind of amazing and very much a time capsule of a time. Can You Take Me Higher is hilarious to annoy your friends with. Of course, ironically, now that I think about it, Creed, a lot of the members of Creed would go on to be in Alter Bridge, which probably also plays a lot on this station. We won't think too much about that. So those are representing post-grunge bands of early 2000s that carried on and the ones that didn't. Let's do a couple other genres in butt rock. I don't know how to describe it, but there's these three bands that were big in the 2000s that were pretty successful in rock and alternative that have shifted more towards the mainstream rock charts and less on the alternative charts. I don't know if that's a function of their music or just a function of the changing charts and radio stations and people's tastes, but representing things like Chevelle, which is a band I enjoy a lot, and 3 Days Grace, which I'm less high on, is Breaking Benjamin. Breaking Benjamin was so popular your girlfriend's lame friend may have even enjoyed them. They may have enjoyed the fact that their name was the same as one of the major songs for Breaking Benjamin. I think they were successful enough and they covered enough of a little bit more of a different era of rock in that time. So we'll have them as one of our big four. The last one of our big four is going to represent an even later time in rock and a little bit more of a metal edge to the butt rock genre. Um, Five Finger Death Punch. Five Finger Death Punch loves the troops. They love covers, and they love playing nothing but rock. So that's kind of our big four of butt rock: Nickelback, Breaking Benjamin, Five Finger Death Punch, and Creed. They're going to be playing on those Frozen in Time, Nothing But Rock stations. They are going to have kind of been their major glory in the 2000s or close to the 2000s, and you can perfectly imagine them being the theme song to a 2006 2007 era WWE wrestling pay-per-view. So that's my butt rock big four. Do you have a suggestion for a butt rock big four? Do you have something that kicks out one of these bands? Why don't you go ahead and suggest it in the comments? I realized while I was making this video that I should have put Shine down in here. So just imagine they're an honorary member.